smooth as glass.
Good morning, everyone. This is your two hosts, Mary Brotherton, Yvonne Mason. We are with Midnight Publishing, and the name of our podcast is All Things Books and Publishing.
Guess what we're going to talk about today?
All Things Books and Publishing. Many things. I have been in the indie business for 20 years. Mary has been in the indie business since 2000. What? I can't.
2002.
2002. So she also had her own magazine that she ran. She's a journalist. So between the two of us, we are not novices.
We're not newbies.
No. We have had more roadblocks, more rejections, more stupidity in our professional career than Carter ever had peanuts in Plains, Georgia.
And he had a lot.
And he had a lot because he had a peanut farm. So there you go. So this morning it's just Mary and I this morning because other people were too busy to play with us. But that's okay. We'll bring them on later. We want to talk about.
This is a good time to say that we're going to have a special show Friday evening.
Yes, a very special show. Aaron M. Frakes, who his new book, his debut novel, Metaphage, is now live. It's an amazing book. I am so proud of him, so proud of that book. And we're going to talk briefly about him as we talk about things this morning. And I want to start the morning off with this. There is a truth, and that is some people are bothered simply because you are brave enough to be yourself. Think about that.
Yes.
That segues into many things this morning, and one of them being that one of our authors who's in these reader groups, that's why I hate reader groups, because bless them, they don't have enough collective knowledge to even make it a teaspoon of wisdom, informed my author that she needed to add more to the description on the Amazon description page of her book, Secrets. This is L.E. Ryan I'm talking about. So she emails me, and my response to her was, those that do can. Those that can't, try to teach.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
L.E. Ryan, her book,
Yes.
Secrets.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but it's awfully early in the day for me to be wrong. Hasn't her book been one of the top 5 best-selling books at Midnight Publishing from the moment it hit the launch?
Exactly.
3 months in a row, if I'm not mistaken. December,
Great
January, and February, her book has been one of the top 5 at Midnight Publishing.
So I wrote Linda back. She writes under L.E. Ryan, but her name is Linda. So I wrote her back and I said, this is your standard response when someone tries to give you unsolicited advice. And that is, how many books have you written? How many of those books have been published? And have you ever received any royalties for any sales for any of your books? Because have they sold? If any one of the answers to those questions are or no, or I'm working on it, they're not an expert.
No.
They want your life. And they're
That
jealous of
happens
what you're
all
doing.
too often. And you and I know someone who kind of turned on me when I started getting a little more successful with my books and with the charity that I was managing. She couldn't handle my success. So how's she going to handle her own success?
She can't. It's
And I want to say
impossible.
something about success before we get on to back to Linda
Go
again.
ahead.
You had said this before, but it clicks in my head often. The minute that you turn your manuscript over to Midnight Publishing, you've already taken your first step towards success. The minute that book is out of your hands, you don't have to worry about your success. You are successful. You've done something. I think we talked about this last week. Only 5% of the people who talk about writing a book ever actually do.
Very
So,
true.
or maybe it was 0.5%. I can't remember.
Very minimal.
Very small amount of people out of, let's just say is 5%. So out of 100 people, there's only 5 people that are going to actually follow through and get their book published.
And on top of
And
that, even less than that, do get out there enough to make more than 1 or 2 sales in a lifetime, because several things happen. Either they don't know how to market, or they don't trust their publisher like our authors do to take care of them, and been in this business a long time and knows how to market, knows the demographics, knows the trends, knows how to take new technology and make it work for my authors, or they give up because
it's
they
not,
get discouraged.
writing is, if you're a committed writer, if writing is your life, like it is mine and Yvonne's, it comes easy to actually write the words on the paper. That's minor, but writing, and then you've got to get, like, I'm working on my book. It's a combination journal and how-to guide, The Journey with Angels. It's a bitch. It's more trouble than I remembered it being. I mean, I've already published it. I self-published it a couple years back, about 5 years ago. But I wrote it all in the publishing program that I used. Now I've got to take that and convert it back into Word. And while I'm doing that, I'm finding all these mistakes. But which is fine. That's normal. But you've got to make sure it looks right, which is where Yvonne comes in. You just write it according to our guidelines, and you're fine. But you write the book, and then you think, I'm done. I can quit. I don't have to do anything else. Wrong. Because, yes, the book will sell itself somewhat on Amazon, but we can only do so much with the cover, and that's what draws them in. But also, Yvonne can only do so much with the keywords. That's another thing. People, if they're looking for true crime, they'll type in true crime novel, or true crime, or crime, crime thriller, whatever. But is it a psychological thriller? Is it a true crime? Is it a fiction? Whatever. Is it a cozy mystery? So Yvonne has to figure out all of these little categories to put it in. And it's amazing that she does so well with it, because, I mean, I looked at Erin's book last night. It's number 93.
Nice.
In one of his categories, I forget which. Because you gave it the right category when you first uploaded it. I wish he would go ahead and let her do the Audible. We could get so many more sales. He's not the only author that's hesitant to do that. But even though Yvonne does everything she can to get the book as marketable on Amazon, that's still not the end of it. Because if you sit back and say, okay, well, I wrote a book and I got it published, and go buy it, you got to keep it up and keep it up and keep it up. You have to market it and promote it and promote yourself.
Because you're the brand.
I know it's hard for some people. They're shy, or they've been taught all their life, I can't brag on myself. Well, there's a difference between bragging and stating the facts. And as long as you don't do it in an arrogant way, nobody's going to say you're doing anything wrong. You just have to keep doing it. You can't do it once and forget about it. It's not a one and done thing. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just kind of got on my soapbox there.
No, because this is all true. And ladies and gentlemen, what we do here that I can promise you no other publishing house does, none, is when you come on board with us, we do everything from the graphics to your children's and graphics books, to the covers, to the editing, to the formatting, to the publishing, to the marketing. Daily. I am every day I'm either doing books and or marketing. If I don't have any books, I am marketing your book. I have several programs. I create 7 to 11 second videos. And I'm going to tell you what, those videos work. Nobody else does that. Not even the big six. They don't do that.
And folks, let me tell you, I know you've got to have at least 24 authors now, right?
Yes.
Do you know how many books we have combined?
Over 100.
Okay. That's 100 7-second videos. So that's 700 seconds. But it takes more than 7 seconds to create a video. She probably spends, I'm guessing, 15 minutes to half an hour on each video.
Then I have to put them up on all the social media sites.
And she's got more than 24 social media sites. I mean, we've got Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and YouTube. Those are the 5 big ones. But we've also got Mastodon and Blue Sky and
Substack.
And all this podcast. If there's a platform that takes the video, it goes out like on YouTube. If it just takes the audio, she puts that out too. It's on Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. I can't even fathom all the places. And Yvonne's been doing this for so many years. She's got a rhythm to her that she just does it. But think about this. She's making 7-second videos. She's making 100 videos for each book. Plus. She's doing promos for Midnight Publishing, because we're doing a campaign right now of all the countries that we're in. We are in over 120 countries. And we're in the process of creating the post and creating the videos so that it's our way of saying, hey, Ghana or France or Trinidad and Tobago. You know, all of these places that listen to us, watch our videos, have joined our website. We're in the process of saying hi. We appreciate you on a personal level. And we can't, unless you join our website. And we're also in the process of doing that, trying to do a hello shout out to each individual author who has joined our website. And the author wannabes. But the wannabes will have to wait till after we get the authors done. There are a lot of moving parts, basically, that keep this machine going. No other publisher does this. You will not find Oh, you might find videos of a book. Just ask Sherry Ann Richardson who had to pay for that video. Just
Well, they didn't
ask
even
her.
do. They didn't even do videos for her gardening book. All they did was put it in a couple of newspapers. Now,
That she had to pay for.
that she had to pay for. This was with Penguin. And what Sherry Ann did is Penguin picked up her gardening guide for idiots, and they advanced her a 5 figures. But out of that advance, she had to eventually pay for her books. She had to pay for the agent. She had to pay for the marketing, and she never got any royalties.
She had to pay
Never.
for a publicist. She had to pay for
Yes.
her editor.
And she
And
also
the
was
thing about the
not.
marketing, Sherry Ann told us that, say she wanted to buy tote bags, and she was going to an event. She was going to go to a book signing, and she wanted to give a tote bag with the cover of her book to everybody who bought her book. Can't do it.
Couldn't do
We
it.
don't like that. But you can give out pins. You can give out business cards or bookmarks, but you got to pay for it. And
And
if
she
you
was
sell
also,
them,
she was
you
also
can't sell more
limited
than
on the
$250 worth.
right. She was also limited on what venues she could go to. She had to get approval from Penguin. And see, I knew all of this way back when. And when her books did not sell enough to reimburse the company for the 5-figure advance, she had to pay it back.
No, no.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, on our website, we are seen in 49 countries, 158 regions in those different countries, 254 cities within those different countries. That is just on the website. On YouTube, we have 4,084 viewers in 120 countries. The numbers speak for
Nobody's
themselves.
paying attention.
In the last 48 hours, we had 735 views on what I put up yesterday and the day before.
How's that even possible?
It's magic. It's a God thing.
You know, it's like God is Midnight Publishing's fairy godmother. And he's just sprinkling all this little fairy dust over everything we do.
And what's so funny
Oh, I
is,
have an announcement.
okay,
I just remembered this. It came in late last night. Connie Stegel
yeah,
DM'd me on Facebook. And it was unusual because it came in late after like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, but she's in Texas,
right,
right? So she works for a store, and I'm going to give them a little shout out here, Honey Bunnies in LaGrange, Texas. They sell children's clothing, and it's a bakery. They have, as she called it, a high-end boutique next to the bakery. And Connie wants to talk to the owner about putting all of my children's books in her store. And I'm like, oh.
so if they want them, we'll just drop ship them to them.
That's what I'm thinking. Hopefully they don't want to do consignment. That's not the best way for me.
They need to outright buy, and we'll sell
They
them
need
to
to
them.
buy them at a wholesale price, and you can just drop ship them. And also, I don't know if Aaron told you this.
He did, and I explained to him how we could do it.
Okay. You want to explain to the people what we're talking about?
Okay. Aaron last night emailed me, and it was a twofold email. One was about the audio that we keep going around and around and around like a dog chasing its tail. I will eventually win. I know this because I'm a very patient person, and I will eventually win. Aaron doesn't know this yet, but he will, because Yvonne does not take no easily for an answer, especially from men. Anyway, that being said, he has a friend that approached him at work, and this friend said, I would like to buy your books at a discounted price, not one that won't make you any money, but I want to be able to sell and give these books as gifts. So Aaron says, what do I do? So I sent Aaron what it cost him to buy the author copies, and I said, but that per book, but that does not include shipping and handling. This is the retail price for the paperback. This is the retail price for the hardback. Now, find out how many your friend wants. I will drop ship them to you when you pay the invoice. Then I will teach you how to incorporate your upcharges into what you charge him, and you still make money.
And the guy still gets a
probably
discount for buying in bulk.
And the guy still gets a discount. But
But
it
how
probably
cool
blew his
is
mind.
that? His coworker is so excited that he knows a published author
Yep.
that he wants to buy 10 to 15 copies of the book to give away and say, I know this guy. And that goes right back to this 5% thing. His own brother, Aaron's own brother, they grew up in the same, they're both my sons. I know exactly how they grew up. They grew up the same way, with the same mother reading to them and teaching them how, I mean, they both love to read. But the older one says, you've done something I could never do in a million years. You've published a book. And he is in awe of his younger brother. And it blows Aaron's mind because he's never felt this kind of admiration before. And he told me last night, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I said, well, when that other shoe drops, it's going to be with your second book, which he's already like 6 or 7 chapters into. I said, and it's going to be a bigger drop, and it's going to be even more amazing.
Now,
He
this
said,
young man, before you finish, let me give our listeners the backstory. This young man wrote this first book 10 years ago and sent it to one publisher, got rejected, got up in his feelings, and went and hid in a cave and said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep.
And so when his mother decided to relinquish her books and let me do what I do so she could do more and not stress over it, she finally talked him into coming on board. So when I finished his book and I told him, I'm putting the book up today or tomorrow and we'll start promoting it. Oh, will it go live then? No, honey. No. It's a marketing strategy. It goes live on the 28th. We're going to pre-market this book. We're going to pre-order from Kindle. Oh, he said, I thought I was just going to write it, put it on a shelf, and forget it. I said, oh, no, now it's time for you to put on your big boy panties, step up, and get on social media. Because he hates social media. But he's done it. And the proof is in the pudding. This month alone.
I know that he sold 8 pre-orders, right? And then the day it launched, he sold another 7 or 8. And now he's got this guy saying, I want to buy at least 10 books.
Well, he's already sold
wholesale.
7 just in the 4 days of this month.
Yeah, I mean, he launched it on the 28th of February, and he was Midnight Publishers' 3rd largest seller. In one day.
February. In one day. So, we make
And
magic here.
That is
Go
largely
ahead.
because of those videos that you created.
Yes.
You created some amazing videos. And I know there are people because I've heard the murmurings that go, but that guy doesn't look like the character in the book. Okay, fine, whatever. Or it doesn't sound like I think he should sound like. I don't care. You know, I was extremely disappointed when I first saw the movie Jaws. I
Yep.
had read the book, loved the book, and then I watched the movie and I'm like, no, that's not what Quinn's supposed to look like. No, that's not how Quinn acts. No. I mean, The Godfather, same thing. You read the book and then you watch the movie. You cannot make there is absolutely no way to get the images out of my mind and your mind and the author's mind to all sync up. We can all read the same book and see different pictures.
It's a different perspective from each reader. And also, Mary, what your naysayers are trying to do is create an inner saboteur because they're frustrated. They haven't been brave enough to be themselves.
There is nobody making videos of what they're doing.
No. And
see, you're doing,
gentlemen,
you're making videos for us at no charge.
exactly. And they're not cheap.
No. And Aaron has a friend similar to Linda Ryan's friends who keeps telling him, well, I really think you should do this, and I really think you should go back, and you need to get a different cover, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. Why don't you blah, 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 blah. And once again, this man has no books completed. He has spent more time getting the cover of his book by a paid author, or artist, than he has writing the book. And then when he gets it written, he doesn't know what he's going to do with it. And it cannot come to midnight because it's erotica. So he can't just jump on board with us. And Aaron even told him, he said, if you would just tone down your spice a little bit, you could get it published with Yvonne. He says, but the spice is the best part.
In his mind.
In his mind.
He is a legend in his own mind. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we preach. And that is, when someone is writing a book, you have to learn how to think outside of your little mind and your little box. Because you can write a book all day long and twice on Sunday. And you can publish it yourself, put it up on Amazon, put it up on Lulu, and you can say, I'm a published author. But what good does it do if nobody reads it?
Right.
When I wrote Silent Scream, which was my very first true crime, I did not write it like your normal true crime authors write. Because of my background, I didn't have to go get technical advice from law enforcement. I have that background. My late husband worked the case. He was the expert. He had that experience in that case. All of my friends were ex-LEO, state attorneys, and attorneys. They all were the experienced people in this case. So when I wrote that book, I'm going to tell you, I got some feedback that bordered on ugly, very ugly. My response was, then this book's not for you.
Yeah.
LEO loves it. So let me tell you what happened because of that book. I got a phone call and an email from a gentleman in France whose wife had been killed by a serial killer. He wanted to understand why. He and his crew came from France and did a documentary on my book before it was even out there. That was the very first time I appeared on television. It was in France. When he left, he had a better understanding of a serial killer's mind. The second time, on a whim, because what's the worst that they can say is no, I approached Investigation Discovery, told them about the book, told them what it entailed, and the next thing I know, I'm on Investigation Discovery 4 or 5 times about the same book.
Yeah.
Then I get approached by a crew out of New Zealand about the same book. Now, if it had been written, watered down, to suit the 1 or 2 people that didn't like the way it was written, that opportunity would have never presented itself.
No, because you wrote it raw. Because
Yes,
it
it's
was
very
a raw story. Curtis was watching YouTube the other day, and he'd rather watch YouTube, I think, than anything else. But I stopped because I something caught my eye. I heard a name, and there was this picture of a huge tree. He was watching Florida's most haunted sites.
Yep.
And the name I heard was Gerard Schaefer.
Yep.
And I'm like, wait, what? Back up. Rewind that. I want to see that again. He goes, what's the deal? I said, Yvonne wrote about this. That tree where those girls were found.
That were found in the canal.
Yeah. But
they were in that park.
people go to the tree near the canal because
Yep.
that's as close as they can get. And it's a tourist site now. And I told him, I said, Yvonne wrote Silent Scream about this guy.
And that was just 2 of the victims.
Say that again?
That was just 2 of the victims.
Right. There were more.
There were at least 35, but we only know of 9. One of them, the youngest one was 8, and the oldest one was 22. In fact, I know you see the name Lowe, the last name Lowe, on my feed a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's the family of one of my victims. She just had a birthday. One of my victims just had she went to school one morning and was never heard from again. She was 13. They don't know where her body is. But what I'm saying to everyone out there is those that can do, those that can't, try to teach and try to give unsolicited advice about something they know absolutely nothing about.
And they may not realize the damage they're doing or they're trying to do. They're sabotaging our success. I mean,
Jealous.
if Yvonne had listened to the people who said, oh, that's too raw, that's too much, don't give that much information. I don't want to read that. Then don't read it. I don't read Yvonne's true crimes. I can't. I read her made-up crimes. I'll read her Murder in the Village and Duct Tape, Tarp, and a Shovel. But no, I'm not reading the gory stuff. That's just not, I can't do that. And that's okay. I write my own.
Well, there's the backstory to that. The backstory to that book is while I was researching and writing it, I don't sleep anyway, but I really didn't sleep when I was working on that book, which took 8 months. When I finally did go to sleep and sat straight up in bed because this voice said, I'm going to kill you. Now he'd been dead since the 1990s, but he was living rent free in my head. And I knew he couldn't kill me. He couldn't hurt me as a ghost. What are you going to do? You know, I'm not afraid of ghosts. I'm worse than they are. But it's the fact that when he was alive and anyone tried to write that story, he threatened to sue them. There was a journalist that was going to write that story. And he said, if you do, I'll sue you. So I'm pretty sure that God maybe had a plan that that story wasn't meant for anybody but me, because I wrote it because I wanted the reader to feel on some level what those girls felt, knowing they were going to die. So if you can't handle my true crime, it doesn't bother me.
She's got plenty of other stuff out there to read. Her
Absolutely.
dramedies are to die for.
Oh, and on my YouTube channel, there is one of those investigation discovery episodes.
I've
Also,
watched it.
also on my YouTube channel is where I take friends of mine to the crime scene there on South Hutchinson Island. And I also take a reporter to the crime scene at Oak Hammock Park. So that's Silent Scream. There's two more out there. It's called The Last Rites and Justice for Cindy. But again, had I listened to people who don't have the courage to step out, don't have the courage to understand they're the brand, and don't have the courage to fulfill their dream, then I wouldn't be here today. I would have quit a long time ago. And this is what we tell our authors. Got something from another author the other day. And this is going to segue into what we're going to talk about on the 10th. She got a email saying, we can help you boost your sales with paid marketing. And she said, no thank you, my publisher takes care of all my paid marketing.
I love that.
But you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you cannot allow other people to be your inner saboteur. Any artist out there that says they don't have some lack of self-confidence, because that's just who we are, it's part of our makeup, they're lying, because it's there. And people that want to tear you down because they don't have enough tenacity to fulfill a dream, just like this guy who's still playing around with his book. He's paid somebody to do a cover that I can promise you probably is not what he really wants. They don't have the guts to put themselves out there. And this is what we tell all of our authors when they come on board. They have to come on Facebook, because that's where the magic starts. They have to send me a headshot. They have to send me a bio, because that goes up on our website, because they are the brand. And if you don't have, fake it till you make it. Because if you don't have that tenacity, you will never get beyond putting it in a file on your computer and being frustrated. Am I right, Mary?
Honey, I am the queen of that. I have had books on my computer for 40, 45 years. I'm 71 now. Ever since I've had a computer, and I was one of the first people in my family to have one, all of my files went onto my computer. And I have books of stories that I haven't even transcribed yet. I'll get to those one day. But I kept putting it off. I kept thinking, one day, I'll get to it one day. I'll get around to this. I put other people first. I helped other people publish their books. I helped other people achieve their dreams. And then finally one day, I was having lunch with Yvonne, and she said, just stop. Send me what you've got. I'll turn it around for you. Within a week, I had, I think, 2 books published with you. 6 weeks later, I had 6 books published with you. And let me tell you, folks, you might think children's books are easy. To me, writing a novel is much easier. Takes a little longer because there are more words. But writing children's books is not the easiest thing. You've got to appeal to the child, and you've got to have the proper words. But since July, August of 2025, since I got out of my own way and I started trusting Yvonne and trusting the process, I now have 20 books. Well, 18 with Midnight Publishing. 2 that are still waiting
She's
for
still
me to get
working
them
on
turned
them.
around and get over to her.
And of those 18 books, the ones that can go on Audible went on Audible. Now, I know, ladies and gentlemen, I understand your angst. I get it. But I also know that I embrace technology. Had I not embraced technology way back when it was DOS, I would still be sitting here with my very first manuscript, which was handwritten, not even typed, handwritten, and never published. When I first started in this business, there was no resources for indie authors. The only publisher we had was Lulu, and that was hit or miss. And you had to buy your own ISBN numbers. There were no websites. There was no social media. My first social media was MySpace. I think I still have the account. I don't even know if MySpace is still up and running. But there was nothing.
So.
There's nothing as to what we have now. If it wasn't for Amazon coming to me and saying, okay, we know you got books out here. Would you be willing to be one of our beta testers and help us with this? Because we want to make it accessible. Hey, I'm all about it. Let's try it. Every one of my authors, with the exception of 2, because they're being stubborn, if their books can go on Audible, as soon as the Kindle version goes live, this is how easy it is. As soon as the Kindle version goes live, Audible pops up and says, hey, I'm here. We're ready for you. I go in and I check every voice that is available that Amazon keeps putting more up. And I find the right one for that particular book. I take this voice and run with it. I go check it out. I say, fine, done. Boom, I go back, I put a price on it, and in about 2 hours it's ready. It's available.
And I can tell you, the books of mine that are on Audible, the voices are perfect. The 2, well, actually there's 3 that I think are absolutely perfect. The other ones, whatever. The Lizard Patrol, the voice of that southern cat is just, he just melts my heart. And the southern girl in Ramonda's story, beautiful. And that debonair voice that you chose for Steep Steps. I couldn't have picked a better voice if I was doing it myself.
And you got to remember, some of your books were some of that beta testing. And what people don't understand is the more I use that program, the more the program learns. And the more the program becomes conducive to my needs.
Case in point, I want to add this in. People talk about AI. They don't like it. Or they'll take it one way or the other. This is a smartwatch. And the reason I have a smartwatch, 2 months ago I had a heart attack. For the last 6 weeks I've been struggling to find cardio rehab close enough to my home that is covered by my insurance. And apparently it doesn't exist. I can drive for an hour 3 days a week for an hour and a half worth of rehab that I can't do yet because I'm still regaining my strength. So my husband said, let's skip the cardio rehab. Let me buy you a smartwatch. This is nothing but AI. And I'm learning what it means. I'm still trying to figure out all the little gizmos and gadgets that are on it. It will check my blood pressure, I think. No, it does an ECG, but it won't do the blood pressure. But it checks my body temperature. The beautiful thing is, if I fall down hard, I can call 911 from my watch. Because, I might have my phone in my hand, but if I fall, where's that phone going? Whoo, across the room.
Yeah, John.
So this way, I don't have to do like my mother did and crawl for 20 minutes across a 10-foot floor with a broken hip. And if I should have a heart attack and need an ambulance, I can just press a button and call them immediately. And then it will alert my husband that there's been an emergency. So it's a safety measure for me. But it uses AI. And nobody thinks twice about these things. Nobody bats an eye when they get in their car with their key fob in their purse or their pocket and they press a button to go somewhere.
AI.
Why do we question AI? I get it. I understand. There's a creative process that, and I know an artist who has stopped creating art, and he's changed the kind of art that he does because people were emulating him. Flattery is the biggest form of...
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
That's what I'm trying to say. The Audible books, I haven't sold a lot of mine in Audible, but I've sold a few. And those books have helped people who can't read. Either they're dyslexic or they have another learning disability, but they want to hear the stories. And we have an author who has a son who can only listen to books. So there are a lot of reasons to do the Audible. And if you do the Audible with Midnight Publishing, with AI, it's out there like that. It's quick.
And it costs you $0.
Exactly.
You're not spending thousands of dollars that you're not going to be happy with, and you will never recoup it in sales.
And you can't go back and say to the voice artist, I don't like the way you did this. Would you do it over for me for free? No, they'll do it over. They might say, well, sure, I can change my inflections, or there's a different also in what we call a straight read, which would be as if I'm sitting here just reading my book to you. A lot of people, and the two holdouts that we have, both of them happen to be men of a certain age, but they both want cinematic storytelling. They want the book to sound like you're listening to a movie. They want to hear the footsteps. They want to hear the clash of the swords. They will, or at the very least, they want to hear each character in that book with a different voice. I know one of them said, well, even if they just soften their voice for the women. To me, that just doesn't sound right.
Because most women don't have a soft voice.
Not me. But, these guys have their own idea, so they're holding out till they have enough money to hire it done the way they want. For what purpose? They're missing out on sales while they're waiting. And just because they have a cinematic book read, that doesn't mean the sales are going to go through the roof. I would prefer to have my stories out there than to have
Exactly.
them out there a specific way.
A long time ago that if you were starving and somebody offers you a half a loaf of bread and you say, well, it's not a full loaf, so I don't want it, you're going to die from starvation.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And likewise, if they offer you 2 slices of bread and you say, well, where's my ham and lettuce?
Exactly. I don't
Or,
want it without that.
I need mustard to eat a ham sandwich even. Beggars can't be choosers. And it's not that we're begging. We are not begging anybody. Yvonne and I have enough to do without anybody else giving us more work.
And we operate with no budget and no money.
Yeah. We do
Because
what we do.
our authors get every bit of their royalties.
Yeah.
I don't keep any of it. Neither does Mary. And she will tell you, they get paid.
Yeah. I just got a royalty check for December, and I was very happy.
So you should never look a gift horse in the mouth, because that opportunity may never roll around again. And that brings us to our topic for the day, and that is, and we get kickback on this too, but again, you're the brand, and that is, when we put you up on Amazon, the first thing you need to do is go to Author Central and build you a page, and Mary will tell you why.
Before I do, I just got a text from my son. Gotta share it. I just had a very organic opportunity to tell our purchasing agent in the office about publishing a book. She ordered one on the spot and asked if it was okay for her to pass it along to the other office workers so they can show their support. I think I just sold another 5 or 6 books.
Check in a little while. Nice.
He works in a company that had, I think I told you 25 or 4,500 people. I don't remember exactly. It's a big company. And his boss asked him if he could invest in his book somehow.
No.
And there is no investment. And he told him, Aaron told him, well, I have a publisher. I don't need any investment because this guy wants to recoup money from it. And he was like, no, that's not going to work for me. But thanks for the offer. You know, it's good to have this kind of interest in your book.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you why it is so important to have an author page on Amazon. And I don't know how all the intricacies work. I know that when I first started self-publishing, the first thing I did was create an author page. And every book that I self-published went onto that page. There were only 2. When I gave those books to Midnight Publishing, I unpublished them from myself, which that has to do with the ISBN. So you go to Amazon right now and you just type in Mary Brotherton. 9 chances out of 10 you're going to get my name. There are a few other Brothertons. Some are Marys, and there are some that aren't Marys, but those names will pop up too. But if you type up Mary Brotherton Books or Mary Brotherton Author, my author page will pop up with all 18 of my books. And that's what I gave Connie Stagel last night, was the link to my author page to give to her boss, so she can go and find out if she wants all of my children's books or just 1 or 2. I convinced my son, and I've been working with Gwendolyn Law to get their author pages up. And I think that was what he was concerned about, getting his rights back. But I think what happens is Amazon, it may take a day or two, they'll trickle his books over to his author page automatically. Once they find out who he is and what he does, it'll all work out. Because I don't do anything. I write the books, I send the manuscript to Yvonne. I just sit back and wait for the royalty checks. That's not all I do, but that's one of the things that I don't have to worry about. Once I get the manuscript into her hands, the book goes live on Amazon and it populates on my author page like magic. It kind of blows my mind that Steep Steps is still considered my most popular book. I don't know why. It hasn't sold the most copies. I think Ramonda's, or
You got to remember, if people just go look, it pulls it up in the algorithms.
yep.
And that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. Every time that your inner saboteur with unsolicited advice says, oh, you need to do this, and you come to me and you say, Vaughn, I want you to do that, and when I say no, there's a reason for it. And the reason is, I have to take time from another author to take care of something because Joe Blow can't get his head out of his ass. And number two, every time I go in and mess with your book, it drops your algorithms down and we start all over.
Yeah, and I had asked Yvonne, I wanted her to change out the cover for Ramonda's extended warranty, because it is it's no longer, but it was listed for quite a while as Amazon's #1 new release. And I put that on the cover because I think that's pretty remarkable. And I asked her, would you update my cover? She said, if I have time. And then she started thinking about it. She goes, no, because it's still in the top 100 exactly where it is. If we take down that cover and put a new cover up, then you start at the bottom of the barrel with Amazon. Even though you don't change your ISBN, you still are changing the cover and everything. You just upset the whole apple cart. And I'm like, okay, fine, I don't care. I want the book out there. I want the book to help people. I want it to inspire people. And
now, down the road, in a couple of years, once this book is established, it won't hurt to refresh the cover. That's what they do all the time in the publishing world. But right now, with everything so new, with all of our authors so new, and with a Midnight Publishing so new, I'm not upsetting the apple cart. When I pulled my books back from my old publisher and started this company, I gave them all new covers. And there's a reason for that. Because it was a different time, a different day, a different house.
yeah. And we actually talked to Sherry Ann about that with her gardening book. If we take her gardening, because the gardening book she wrote with Penguin, she only got 3% royalties on.
And never
and had
got
to pay
paid.
back
Thousands.
if she co-wrote it with another author. So if she takes just the parts she wrote and sends them to Yvonne, Yvonne will create a new cover, and it'll be a new book, new ISBN, and it'll just be under Sherry Ann's name. And
what we will do is we'll do it in a series of books, so it's not one big fat book.
And she'll get the other 67% that was due her.
Absolutely. We are a unique house in that we don't have, we have standards, but we don't have boxes. And that is because ever since the day I was born, I've been a free spirit.
Yes.
I know there are certain rules that with Amazon I have to follow. There's no leeway. Because if I don't follow them, Amazon says, are you stupid? Do you really want this book up? If you want it up, you got to do what we ask you to do. Those are the rules I follow. And I follow them very strictly. I even have fought authors over having to follow these particular rules. However, how I choose to run the business, do graphics for my authors, do book covers for my authors, as long as they meet Amazon's requirements, we're good. We do not do children's books like everybody else. Why, you might say? Well, I will tell you. And this was the question that I asked Mary. Do you want to blend in or do you want to stand out? We are trendsetters here. We are not trend followers. There's no one else doing 7-second videos. No one. There's no one doing the children's books like we do them with the graphics that we use, which looks like photographs. Even the If I Could Be a Mermaid, those are graphics that you're not going to find if somebody draws them. And Mary will tell you because she worked a long time trying to draw the graphics for that book.
I tried to draw them. I had several illustrators work on this book, and they flaked out on me. And unfortunately, this is it's a known thing, a known entity in the industry, that children's book illustrators are some of the flakiest people out there. Folks, if you're listening and you're a children's book illustrator, I'm not directing this at you specifically, unless you're one of my people. You know that some people, I had a woman, she was really good. I was willing to pay her well up front and then pay her, in increments. Like when you're building a house, you pay a little bit at the beginning, you pay a little along, then you pay a lump sum at the end. I was more than willing to pay her to do her work because she was just that good. And she had done just enough images to really hook me. And then she disappeared. And I reached out to her after about 6 months and I said, hey, I'm just checking in. How are we doing with the illustrations? She goes, oh, I've had a change of heart. I really don't want to be known as a children's book illustrator. So I'm not going to do your book. I said, but we had a contract. I know, but since you hadn't paid me yet, I said, I hadn't paid you because you hadn't given me your payment requirements. You didn't give me an address to send a check. You didn't give me a email to Venmo you or whatever. I know, but I've just decided I don't want to do this. I'm like, well, a heads up would have been nice. But I'm not the first children's book author who has had that same story. They just decide they don't want to do it, and they don't bother to tell you.
And with children's books, putting children's books up on Amazon, and Mary will also tell you this from experience, it is a challenge on a good day. It is an impossibility on a bad day. It can make you pull your hair out unless you understand the formula.
Yes, ma'am. I worked for a year on Linda Humphrey's book, Cornfield Flyers of East Tennessee. And Amazon doesn't tell you what to fix or how to fix. They just say, this ain't right, make it better. And they do give you guidelines, they give you videos, they give you links. You can spin your wheels over and over looking for the one answer. And I couldn't find it. And I said, if I'm not in the habit of testing people, but in a way I was testing Yvonne. I gave her all the files that I had for that book. And I said in my head, if she can pull this off, I'm going to work with her. She pulled it off in 24 hours, and within, I want to say, 26 hours, a copy of that book had already been sold. Within 2 hours of her getting that book up live on Amazon, it was selling. Unbelievable. I just don't get it.
They have a formula.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow that formula, you will drive yourself crazy. They have a formula for every format that you put up there. Kindle, hardback, and paperback. The book covers are different for all three of those formats. When I put up Ellie Ryan's book, she had a heart attack because she thought we had screwed up the Kindle cover. No, you have to put that Kindle cover up in pixel format, not inch format, because it goes on devices.
Because it's digital.
You put the hardback book cover is formatted differently because you have a wrap that forms the book cover. They take cardboard, they wrap the cover, and they have to have a certain amount of inches to wrap that book cover. And if you don't have all the wording and all of the graphics in the right place, they will kick it back.
Yeah.
With children's books, you have to have the right size. For an 8.5 by 8.5 book, you have to have the right size graphics or they will kick it back. Same thing with coloring books. If those graphics inside that coloring book do not fit within their specific size, they will kick it back. So what we do with children's books especially is we've done away with all the background. You don't need the background. All I put on there is the graphic, because children don't care about, sure, it's pretty, but it's a pain in the neck. You don't need that background. We just put the graphic up there. I make the graphic fit within the 8.5 by 8.5 book. Your book cover has to match the interior of the book. If your book is a 6 by 9, that book cover's got to be a 6 by 9. If it is a hardback, it is a different size because of the wrap. If it's a children's book, I do all of my children's books 8.5 by 8.5. That book cover's got to match that, and so do the graphics. If not, they kick it back.
And the children's books, even though they're all 8.5 by 8.5, like my grandfather's book, it's thicker. It has more pages. So that affects the cover as well.
Absolutely. And you have to understand it is a process. And this is why authors get frustrated, and I see it more and more every day on different pages on my Facebook feed. I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. And they're getting bad advice.
Yeah.
Very bad advice.
And this is why we tell people you need to follow our guidelines. They are on our Facebook page. I believe they're on our website too. And all you have to do is email either me or Yvonne, or DM us on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you find us, and ask us to send you a copy of our guidelines, and we'll be happy to. We'll also send you a copy of our contract, because you have to sign a contract in order to work with us.
And it doesn't entail money unless you piss off the publisher.
Right. You know, Sherry Ann told us our Penguin contract, I think, was 15 pages.
Yep.
15 or so pages. Our contract is 1 page. And Aaron Frakes summed it up He says, basically, the contract says don't piss off the publisher. And you're good. And really and truly, it's a statement agreeing that if you follow our process and trust us, we'll get your book published as quickly as possible. If we publish your book and you come back after it's published and you say, oh, I found a problem, I need to undo it, I need to edit my book, fine, we'll take it down. Well, I say we, the royal we. We'll take it down, and you have to pay $50 for the privilege of having us take it down and put it back up for you. Because everything's been done for you up to this point for free. $0, no charge. You start dinking around with it. First of all, you're going to mess up the algorithm. Second of all, you're going to go to the bottom of the pile. Thirdly, you'll get, Yvonne will get to you when she can get to you. Because
and fourthly, Mary, what happens is the more you mess with something, especially a manuscript or a book cover, the more likelihood it's going to get screwed up worse. Now,
yes.
that brings us to something Mary and I talked about the other day that she's probably going to bring up on some of her Q&As. Yes, there's typos in books. Guess what? We're human. The Big Six does it all the time. I can't tell you some of the well-known authors, Stephen King being one of them, that has misspelled words. And they go through editor after editor after editor after editor.
Harry Potter.
Get over yourself. And when somebody says, well, I read the book, it was an interesting read, but there were some typos. Big hairy deal. They're not that important. And if it doesn't ruin the structure of the book, who cares? People that make those kind of statements are inner saboteurs who have nothing else to do with their lives but destroy yours because they don't have it.
You don't find, I would say less than 0.5%, maybe not even that many, of published authors who go around finding fault with other published authors. The people that find fault with published books are typically not published themselves. And I am living proof, because there was a time before I published my own books that I made it my business. If I found a mistake, I'd point it out. I might not point it out to the author or the publisher. I never felt like I needed to go that far. But I would take a photograph of a red ink pen pointing at the mistake. And I've printed them out in poster size. I've got 2 of them hanging on my wall right here on this wall. And I've got others in rolls, in tubes waiting for me to bring them out. I just haven't bothered. Because now that I am a published author, I understand the process. And I understand how easy it is to let a single mistake get through. And there was, I don't think we found the actual author of this quote that said, it was one of the Big Six. This book has gone through X number of edits and readers and reviewers. If this typo stayed, it deserves to stay there.
Exactly.
The typo has fought for its life because so many people have overlooked it. And that is a sign of a good book. When you don't even notice the mistakes because the story just sweeps you along.
And the mistake does not delineate from the enjoyment of the book. So
Yeah.
I'm throwing this out there for all of you who think you are the world's latest best critic. Stop it. Number one, we don't care. And number two, when you come sideways to my authors, guess what? My authors bring it to me. And if there's a name attached to that, I will call you out. I don't mind. Because when you rattle my cage as the protector and gatekeeper of these authors that I cherish, it will come to no good end. I will call you out. These authors work very hard at their craft. I'm very proud of each and every one of them. Some of them have been having these dreams on the shelf for 25 years or better. Mary had one for 40. So don't come sideways at my authors. You can come sideways at me all you want to, but do not come sideways at my authors. You either like the book or you didn't care for it. But don't minimalize a review with, oh, it had some typos, but other than that, it was a good book. No, that's called a left-handed compliment with a side of insult. That was not necessary. Because I will take that review and I will flip it on its head every single time.
Yeah. And like you said, those who can do, and those who can't, they either criticize or they try to teach.
In fact, Kara Benson, who is one of my new authors, who's going live with Salt Covered Lives in 5 days, on the 9th.
On the 9th.
She was at a creative writing class, and this publisher said, and I quote, oh, if you have dialogue by one character and then there's action with that character and somebody else, and then that character brings back with dialogue, put it all in one paragraph. Because people don't like multiple paragraphs. Well, guess what? He was a publisher. He should have known better. And I said, no, if it's confusing for me as a publisher and an editor to try to figure out who's on first, imagine your everyday reader. Break it up.
Yeah.
Dialogue, paragraph. Action, new paragraph. Dialogue, new paragraph. Because
the only
people
time you can get away with using the action inside the paragraph of the dialogue is if it's something like, Yvonne said, don't pay attention to people that are criticizing you, as she was doing her podcast. And then she said so-and-so. But you don't say, Yvonne said, do as I say, don't do as I do. She got up and she went and got coffee, and then she fed Lenny, and she checked the door and picked up a package, and she said, I'll be right back. No, you don't do all that stuff in there.
It's too confusing for the reader. And if
and
I,
this is something, believe it or not, I've learned from my husband, because sometimes I'll have a conversation and I might be talking about Yvonne and Aaron and Gwendolyn and myself. And so I'll start a conversation with, I was talking with Yvonne and Gwendolyn and Aaron the other day, and I said so-and-so and such and such. And then Gwendolyn said this and that and the other. And then she said, because I'm thinking Yvonne, but I don't tell him that because I can see you in my head. And he's like, wait, I don't know who's who. You got too many women in this story. And so that actually helped me be a better writer. Because if you can't see it when I'm speaking, how are you going to see it when you're reading it?
So, again, the inner saboteur. When I was in school 100 years ago, before they had electricity, I have to give my teachers some credit in that they taught us how to write structurally correct. And my mother always taught me, you learn how to do it the right way and then you can pervert it.
Yes.
But if you know how to do it the right way, then you can pervert it so that it is readable. And so when those inner saboteurs start knocking at your door, just come to me. Come to Mary. We both will call them out. We don't care.
I eat those people for brunch.
And that's why we're going to have the next Tuesday the class on scammers and predators, and predators include these people that want to be the next world's best book critic. I go see movies that have gotten bad reviews because you know what? That's their opinion. And opinions are like everything else in this world. Everybody's got one.
You know what my grandmother used to say?
What's that?
Opinions are like a special part of your anatomy that you sit on. Everybody has
Everyone.
one. And everybody's stinks.
So it's
And
not
they're no
fact.
good to anybody but the person who has it.
It makes them feel important in your world. Don't let them take up space in your head rent free. Because when you start second guessing yourself, they've won.
Aaron just texted me again. He said, I guess I should stop talking about my book at work. I think all the English-speaking people there already know about it. He works with a lot of Hispanics. I said, you don't stop talking about your book until they tell you to.
Exactly.
When they come
So
to you and say, I've heard about your book, thank you, I
Talk
know.
about it. Talk about it.
But
I have
everybody
to go-
that he knows and there's at least 2,000 people in his company. And they are all so excited to know him because
There you
he
go.
is a published author. There's not another one in the entire company. His supervisor asked his permission to put it in the newsletter that goes to the entire company.
See? Perfect. So we're gonna
I'm like-
close on that account because I have to go bowl again on Wednesdays. This is almost over.
Man.
And we will see you all Friday night at 7:00 right here with Aaron, and we're going to talk
Yes.
about his book, talk about his characters, talk about his book that sucked me in, and I don't even like sci-fi, but this book sucked me in. So
That's when you know you've got a good writer.
exactly,
And this writer just needs to trust the entire process.
trust the entire process. So, ladies and gentlemen, our last words to you is stop listening to the voices outside of our world.
Yes.
They're inner saboteurs, and they are not happy that they have not fulfilled their dreams, so they want your life. They can't have your life. They can't handle your life.
No.
Right, Mary?
Exactly. What was that quote you started the show with about the truth?
It is, some people are bothered simply because you are brave enough to be yourself.
Perfect way to end the show.
And
And-
that is true.
I would encourage everybody to be brave enough to be yourself. And if you've got a story, just one story. We start with one. And then we go. I mean, we just expand. We don't know where it's going to take us. Reach out to Midnight Publishing on Facebook. That's the first place to start. And then we will help you get your dreams fulfilled.
Join us. It's a group page. Join us. We love to have
We're
you.
dream makers.
We are. So until
We're dream
I talk
catchers.
to you. Yeah. Have the day you deserve, ladies and gentlemen, and be kind to yourself first.
Yes.
I love you, my darling.
I love you.
I will talk-
And this was a great show. Can't wait till Friday to catch up with Knucklehead.
Till then, ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.
Bye-bye.